Before you start your structural framing, that is column, beam, and slab placement, there are critical things you must understand because one wrong decision at this stage can affect the entire building. Miracle Okeke Richard, welcome to SamGoz Engineering. And in this channel, we help you develop the required skills and enhance your knowledge to elevate your engineering career. So if this is what you want, you can quickly subscribe. We will be carrying out the structural design and detailing of this residential building. We'll start from the structural framing, we'll do modeling, analysis, design, and all the details concerning this. And this residential building has a shear wall. But this video is all about the 7 things you need to know before you start your structural framing. Because some people, once they get the architectural plan from the architect, the next thing they do is that they jump into structural framing. So first thing to do is that you must study your architectural plan. Yeah, and it's in the process of studying your architectural plan that you're going to do these 7 things. So the first thing you must do is, first of all, study your architectural plan, know the use of the building. So first is know the purpose of the building. So what is the building? What will the building used for? Is it a residential building, a commercial building? For example, now if you look at this, now this is a residential building because we are seeing a staircase and we are seeing living room, bedroom, lobby, toilet and bedroom. We are seeing a kitchen too, and then a balcony. So this tells you that this is a residential building. Then you also know, even if it's a commercial building, know the type of commercial building it is. One, is it a school building? Is it an office building? Is it an auditorium where people will be gathering, or is it a hall? So, and because the reason why you must know all these things is because the loading differs. For example, now the loading of a residential building is 1.5. The loading of an office building is 2 kilonewton per meter square. The loading of a school building, that's classroom block, is what? 2.5 kilonewton per meter square. And then the loading of auditorium, that's hall, and you know that one is an assemble area, so it varies 3 point something and above. So it varies depending on the type you are designing for. So that's why you must know the purpose of the building, because it will help you determine the loading of the structure. Then the next thing you should know once it comes to, before you start your structural framing, is that you know, is there any special load consideration? For example, now what I mean by special load consideration, this is the second thing you must know. Is what I mean by second load consideration. For example, now assuming now we are having a gym area, assuming, let's take for instance now this kitchen area now is gym area. You see that the loading of this ramp will differ from others. Yes, it will totally differ from others, because once it comes to gym, we have heavy equipment there. We'll be having all this dumbbell and the rest, so they are all heavy equipment. So that means you have to load the slab differently, and to the loading of your slab will definitely affect the beam. Why? Because the load coming to the beam will not differ, and then it also affect the column and the foundation. Yeah, because the load coming to that column, due to the load the beam will transfer to the column, will equally differ. So you must know, is there any special load consideration? For example, are you having any gym area? Are you having any water tank? For example, now most buildings now, you see that they have water tank at the rooftop. You know that the loading there is different because you have to calculate the volume of water and the load that water tank is contributing to that slab. So you must calculate all this thing. And then another one people normally misplace or don't really calculate is when there is generator on your slab. When there is generator on your slab, you must calculate. Like that design is, what I say, is a unique design, because first, you know that generation causes vibration. It causes vibration. So it's not anyhow design. So these are the things you must note before you start your social framing. So you know what you are designing for, not just to know what you are designing for. So you know the price you are pricing. So you know how you are pricing your design. Yeah. So that, for example, now you cannot be designing a residential building and a commercial building at the same rate. No, they cannot go at the same rate. Then another thing you must consider before you start your structural framing is that you must consider the soil report. Yes, you must consider the soil report. What is the soil bearing capacity? Not just that, what is the settlement? Not just that, what is the groundwater level? What's the ground? So you must consider all these things, because your soil bearing capacity affects a lot of things. Let's take for instance now, if the soil bearing capacity is very weak, you know that we will now start talking about pile foundation, raft foundation, yeah, or what, strip foundation. So you must know your soil bearing capacity. One thing that most engineers does is that once they get their once they get their building, they will not even ask for soil report. They will just start designing like that. That's very bad. It's also too risky, because one thing you should know, that if that building should collapse, you'll be held responsible. And also, yeah, you should be held responsible. And also, I also advise you to register as a, in case you are in a country and you have not yet registered as an engineer. Yes, you have not registered an engineer. I'll advise you, please go and register. Why am I advising you? For example, now, if a building should collapse and the person in charge of that construction is not an engineer, if that person is not an engineer, that means they will consider that thing as a murder. They will consider it as a murder because that person is not an engineer. But if that person is an engineer, they will consider it as an accident. So I see the difference. That is why you must register as an engineer if you have not yet registered as an engineer, because if the building collapse, it will be considered as a murder if you're not an engineer. But if you're an engineer, it will be considered as an accident. So you see that these two cases are two different things. So please try and register. I'll say like to tell you about our course. Our course is a 10 days intensive structural design and detailing masterclass. In that masterclass, we did every single thing and we explained every single thing about structural design and detailing. All these things I'm explaining now is they are well detailed in the course. And the truth is that in this YouTube channel, I might not really say everything. Why? Because it's a free video, so everything might not really be said. But in the course, I explain every single thing you need to know, starting from structural framing, how to position your column, beam, slab. Not just that, we went to modeling. And so one unique thing about my course is that we don't do based on assumption. Yeah, okay, let me just give you an example. There is one structural design I got yesterday. Yes. So the architect sent me the structural design. He told me that he has already performed the structural design of, like, he has already given it to an engineer to carry the structural design. But there is something he was quite confused because once it comes to the footing area, all the footing, he used a footing size of 1.2 by 1.2, and to that building has a penthouse. It was like even the penthouse area, the person is still using 1.2, and he was just confused. So he now said that I should help him out. But anyway, I have to charge him again. But the thing is that when he gave me that drawing, I got to see that person don't have any knowledge about structural design, because he placed column everywhere he seen one intersection. Like, he was just placing column anyhow. And to remember, for example, now a span of 4 point, I think a span of 4.7, he placed an intermediate column there. Why? See, that person is not even conscious of economy. It's not that he's not conscious of economy, it's just that he doesn't know what he's designing. So that's why I'll advise you get the course, because we explain every single thing, how to make sure that your building is not just safe, how to make sure that your building is also economical in nature. All these things are well explained in our course, and we started from structural framing down to what modeling, analysis, and what design. We also did the detailing of everything: part foundation, column, and beam, slab, first one, column, yet even staircase design was did manually. And also, yeah, we did manually, and also the slab detailing, and also how to cut your slab section. All these things are well explained in the course. And the unique thing is that it's very, very cheap. It's very, very cheap. And to one thing is that course comes with everything that you need. It comes with our detailing template. Not just that, it comes with a CV template. It comes with the software itself, and then you have access to me. So this is the uniqueness of the course, and two, is very, very affordable. So in case you want to get the course, you can just check the link below and get the course. Yes, check the link below in this video description and get the course. So I was in things to consider. I was saying foundation. Yeah, you must consider the soil. I was saying soil bearing capacity. Yeah, and also, okay, for example, as me, reason why I say we must consider the soil bearing capacity or the foundation type is because, for example, now if we are designing a pipe foundation, one thing you should know about pipe foundation is that your column should be spaced out well, so that your pipe cap will not crash with each other. Yeah, for example, now for me now, if I'm designing a pipe foundation, I used to use my column spacing to be 5, 6, or 7. Yes, I used to have, once it comes to pipe foundation, most of my beams are more than 6 meters. Yes, that's why that one is a different master class altogether. So most of my beams are more than 6 meters. Why? Because I don't want to be having pipe cap crash. Yeah, I don't want them to crash with each other. So you must space. So that's why I said you must know the type of foundation you're going to use. Yeah. Also, okay, yeah, that's also another one. You can get the course and learn more of all these things. Do you want to master structural design in just 10 days? I created a course where I carried out the full structural design of this residential building step by step. In this course, I broke down everything you need to know about structural design, starting from the fundamental engineering principle all the way to the practical detailing. Honestly, it is far more in-depth than anything you will find for free on YouTube. And think about it, if my free lessons are already this good, just imagine my paid courses where I poured out all my knowledge and real-life experiences. This 10-day structural design masterclass is all you need to become a confident and competent structural engineer. And the best part is, it is affordable because I consider that most of you are still students. So click the first link in this video description and access the course. Then the next thing you must consider is your building height. What's the height of the building? Yeah, for example now, we have low-rise building, we have mid-rise building, and we have high-rise building. For example, once it comes to low-rise building, you already know that your column size, the minimum column size you'll be thinking of is 225 by 225. Yeah, once it comes to low-rise building. But you cannot be talking about 225 by 225 when it comes to mid-rise building. No, it's not possible. Once it comes to mid-rise building, you now start thinking about 225 by 450, or 300 by 450, or 300 by 600. So the column size changes automatically. So that's why I say you must know what your building height. Know whether you are designing a mid-rise building, building, know whether you are designing a high-rise building, know whether you are designing a low-rise building. So you must note all these things. You must note all these things. Okay, not just that. Okay, yeah. Another thing I have to say is that for example, now once it comes to a high-rise building, you now start talking about shear wall. Yeah. Once it comes to high-rise building, you start talking about shear wall. Why? Why do you talk about shear wall in high-rise building? Because high-rise building is being subjected to what is called wind load. Normally, from design, it said that once your building height is more than 10 meters, you should start applying what? For example, now this building height now is not more than 10 meters because this is 3 meter, 3 meter, then 3 meter. If you check it, it's 9 point something, so it's not more than 10 meters. So definitely this one, but normally this one I will just apply wind load. Because the roof will make it to be what, more than 10 meters. Yeah, but once it comes to high-rise building, you'll be having a building height of 30 meters, 40 meters, 60 meters. So it is subjected to what? Wind effect. So remember, the function of shear wall is to resist lateral load. And we have two types of lateral load. One, wind load and earthquake load. But in Africa or in Nigeria, where I reside, we don't have earthquake load. So once it comes to what high-rise building, we do include shear wall in our design to resist lateral load, which is to resist wind load. So these are the things you must consider. For example, high-rise building, you must know that you are having what? Shear wall in order to, like, it is being placed at strategic points. Yeah, but that one is a different design altogether. It's a different masterclass altogether. It's being placed at what? Strategic point in order to resist what? Wind load. So these are the things you must consider. Is there shear wall? Then another thing you must consider before you start your structural framing is what is your material strength? What is your material strength? For example now, once it goes to what? Let me say 1-story building, 2-story building, you might be talking of grade 20 concrete. Yeah, that's M20. You might be talking of grade 20. But once it comes to high-rise building, 10-story, 20-story, you cannot be talking of M20 again. You start going with M25. Yeah, because you need high strength. So once it comes to high, you cannot be talking of M20. You'll be talking of M25 or M30. So these are the things you must consider before you start your structural framing. Then the final thing, which is the most important thing to consider before you start your structural framing, is economy. Yes, it's the economy. Mainly, that's why I always advise you to get our course. Yeah, the link to that course is in this video description. You can just check it out. This economy, most of the time, many engineers doing their structural design, they don't consider economy at all. They don't consider anything economy. So why? Okay, for example, now they will just come and start placing column. They will place column anywhere they are seeing one intersection. They will place column here. Anywhere they're just seeing one intersection, they will just be placing column. If you do your design like that, your building will be safe, quite alright. But your building will not be economical. You just waste your client's money. Yes, you just waste your client's money. So economy is a very vital thing to consider before you start your structural framing. Make sure you place your column strategically, following the governing engineering principles. Don't just place based on assumption. No, and also that's why I say get the course, because most of the thing people do in structural design is assumption. They do assume, or they just believe the software behind you. Get the course. So you must consider economy once you comes to structural design. The goal of every structural engineer is to ensure that their building is safe and also their building is economical. Your building should not just be safe. Your building should be safe and economical. So these are the things that you should note before you start your structural framing. And don't forget, we'll be uploading videos on this in our YouTube channel. So this is the introduction. Our next video will be about structural framing, which is column placement. Our next video will then be about superimposing or paneling, one of them. So but we'll design this building from start to finish. So please follow through the series. Follow through, because I'm very sure that you're going to learn more. So these are the sessions. So don't forget, you can still get our course. The uniqueness of our course is that it's very affordable. It's very affordable. Yeah, because I consider the fact that most people getting this course are students. So I made it affordable. So you can just check and get the course and practice, because you are going to benefit a lot from it.